goal's to win, for Christ's sakes. And you keep talking about the CBT. You keep talking about prospects and your long-term goal. Like, you just basically told us we ain't good enough. We suck. You let us down.
Angry Lou.
A hole the size of I don't even know what in that bullpen. Keep playing like dog.
Great call by manager Lou.
Go get me a goddamn first baseman. That's what I want. I don't want an outfielder DH. I need a first baseman.
Okay, Lou, I'll ask you something.
What? How do you go into the season without a closer? How do you not address the closer situation?
Lou, what's up, dog?
Good, how are you doing? Good.
Well, it's always great to have you here, Lou.
Oh, baby! We got him! We were conducting the orchestra at 1202 Gresham Fourier, and, yeah, this guy...
Well, he's slippery, isn't he?
If he hasn't already checked his message that just got left for him, I'm sure he will be when he's done. You hear him as a part of the Red Sox radio network, as I call him, the voice of baseball in Boston, our friend Lou Merloni on the Harbor One hotline. Louis, how are you?
Happy Friday, everybody.
What hole are you on?
He's not. He's home.
Oh, you're home?
You can hear the echo.
Oh.
Yeah, no golf today. No golf. That was yesterday. So
yeah.
Nothing today.
Listen to your voice message after this hit, okay?
I will.
Lou is actually standing outside Boston's preeminent MRI center that Chris Sale is about to go into, and they're going to punch the card for his 10th MRI, so the next one is free. That's right. How about that?
Lucky gets the balloon, maybe like a little surprise.
They normally give you a bike ride, but he would fall. So
yeah, they can't do that either.
Oh man, Lou, once again with Chris Sale. Ugh.
Not good. Not good. And, it's funny because we had this discussion, I think, the last 2 or 3 outings, and it was like, can you start to trust this guy? Is he back? And you kind of really simplify and break it down. You're like, man, I'm just happy he's given 9 or 10 or 11 starts and hasn't got hurt yet. But, yeah, he was back, and it was just fortunate. I was hoping it was some kind of like a strained side, oblique or something like that, because the shoulders, you don't want any part of the shoulder, you want any part of the elbow. The other stuff, the fluke injury, falling off a bike, breaking a pinky, whatever. But shoulder, elbow, that's not good.
I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being holy crap, this is over. Where's your like fear factor with this, as far as what could the results be of the MRI?
Well, I mean, listen, I always worry too much. I mean, as far as if he can't go, if he's done for the year, I think it's going to be really hard for this team to kind of compete in this division. Everything was kind of, a lot of things needed to go right for this team to compete for a playoff spot, and they really have. Maybe except for the last week to 10 days, but him going down is not good. Then you're looking at a guy like Paxton, and who's back in that rotation? Is it Pavetta? Do they want to keep Crawford in the bullpen? So, yeah, my concern level is probably about an 8 right about now, or 9.
So what do they do then, Lou? What I mean, because they threw Pavetta got basically, I guess, he got demoted to the bullpen. He's a starting pitcher, and he wasn't really happy about it. At least I don't think so. And do they bring him back in? Like, how does so? What's your rotation now?
I actually always felt like Cutter Crawford was should be a starter. He's got starter stuff, but I just sort of like that dynamic of him and Winkowski out there in that pen with those other guys. So I think I'd put Pavetta in the rotation. I know they got this scheduled doubleheader tomorrow. Yep. So it's going to be someone's going to be jumping in there, and who knows what's going on with Kluber. Was it just a phantom to get him ready and give him some time off, whatever, but. I think I'd rather have Pavetta in the bullpen, in the rotation, because I think he's a better pitcher. And I don't know what Kluber's situation is, but Pavetta helps you more out in the bullpen. So it sort of turns into like, okay, what are we trying to improve more? Keep the bullpen kind of solid because he's been throwing the ball well, or do we just want to gas up our rotation and get guys there? So I think that probably goes into the thought process. Like right now, what's more important, the fifth spot or having a really good deep bullpen?
Our friend Lou Merloni is with us on the Harbor One hotline. He's a part of the Red Sox radio network, and as we say here, the voice of baseball in Boston. I've seen you tweet about this a little bit, and if there was one thing, Lou, going into the year, I was like, boy, this Red Sox team, okay, they got some holes, but defensively they should be okay. Well, this week has not been great for them defensively, and it's really hurt them. Do we have to start to worry that part of the game is going to become a problem for this crew?
Yeah, it really has been all year long. It's just that they were swinging the bat so well that they were making up for a lot of it. For 100 years in the game of baseball, to be a good defensive team, you have to be strong up the middle. And going into the season, you had two catchers that you didn't know if anyone could be a starter. You didn't know if Kike could play shortstop. Kike could play shortstop every day. You didn't know if Arroyo could stay healthy. And Duvall is a Gold Glove outfielder, but he's a Gold Glove left fielder, not a center fielder. So when the season started, you were pretty weak defensively, up the middle of the field. There were a lot of question marks, I should say. And that's kind of where you're still at. Like, watching Kike play shortstop, it's like, it makes you appreciate a guy like Xander Bogaerts, who every single day, and Derek Jeter, every day, kind of boring, but they'll just make the routine plays. So they don't make the spectacular plays great. But you know what? If they catch it, it's out. And Kike's, at times has played a really nice shortstop. He obviously had a meltdown the other day, but, at times he has shown, like even in the last month, that he's kind of settled in a little bit. But playing every single day, it's a routine play needs to be made. And it's just, defensively right now, it's killing them.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, they were taking losses off the board and putting W's up with these comebacks. Wins off the board and then putting up losses.
So, even with Kike, even the other day when we spoke to Core, the last time I looked, the other day, he was leading the majors in errors. At the time, he had 11. And so, obviously, mentioned that to Cora, and he seemed to kind of downplay it as maybe, don't look at the errors so much as the runs saved. Is that an accurate, hey, don't worry, the sky isn't falling kind of coach speak, or is that just the truth?
I think it's kind of a way to justify what you're seeing, in their terms. You know what I mean? Because you can sit there and say, the question is, do you want a shortstop that's got great range but can't make the routine play? So great, he takes hits away left and right, once in a while here. But for the most part, most ground balls are routine. Out the routine play. Okay, I'd love to have both. But he's sort of like this, and he's struggling with some routine plays, but he's saving runs defensively, maybe with some range or taking hits away, and that's great. But it's got to be kind of a little bit of both, right? So they're focusing on the positive. He's taking some runs away, but the errors, it's hard to ignore because they're there.
Lou Merloni is with Grecia and Fourier. He's with us on the Harbor One hotline. We did ask Cora about Memorial Day, and Lou, I had always heard, being in this business, that when you get to Memorial Day, you kind of take stock of what you have. Is that a benchmark that you go by? And if so, is this team about right what you thought they would be at Memorial Day, right around a couple games over 500? I didn't expect them to be this far behind in the division. Tampa's off to an unbelievable start. The Orioles are actually not fading after another good start. But a couple games over 500, I guess this is really where they're supposed to be around this time of year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the saying pretty much it's a 6-month season. So the first 2 months you evaluate what you have. The next 2 months maybe you see what you have internally and you evaluate what you might need externally in the trade market. And then the last 2 months it's a sprint. You've gone through the trade deadline. This is our team. Go get them. So they're in that evaluation process right now. They're pretty much exactly what I think most people thought they would be. This week I know they lost 2 to the Reds, and it's like, oh my God, look at this payroll. I can't believe they're losing to the Reds and everything. And it's like, okay, raise your hand if you thought they were going to win a World Series. Is there anybody out there that thought they're going to go to the World Series? They're competitive. They're fun to watch at times. So this is kind of who they are. And really, the last 10 games or so, they've struggled. They struggled out in Anaheim, and they struggled against the Reds. So should be games over 500? Yeah, give or take a couple. I could see them being 5 games over 500, kind of really who they've been so far this year. But this is kind of who they are. This year, it's about kind of building a new core. It's about moving forward and saying, okay, is this our rotation next year? Is this our lineup next year? Is this our bullpen next year? Do we have some more pieces? And how do we build on that?
So when you look at their overall standings and their record, do you think they, being the players, and even Cora, get a little irritated that they have to look at the standings and realize they're in last place, even though they have a winning record? And if they were in the NL Central or the AL Central, they'd either be in first place or battling for first place?
Yeah, I just don't think that players kind of, they'll look at it once in a while, but it's really like a day-to-day kind of mentality, day-to-day job. But when you're there every single day and you look up at the green monster at home and you just see yourself in last, I think they felt better about themselves when they were, 4 or 5 games above, 500 and sitting there in fourth and being like, okay, we're a couple games out of third, and that's where the wild card spot's going to be. But they can't be looking at scoreboard. They can't be getting frustrated. They are what they are. I think they just got to go about it day to day here with Tampa Bay and try to pull 2 of these games out and hopefully 3.
Hey, Lou, what happened to Adalberto Mondesi? He's still around? What happened to that guy?
Yeah, someone once said, until I actually see him on the field, I don't believe he exists. I have no idea. Like, this guy Mondesi, I remember in camp thinking, okay, you're thin up the middle. And the word I got was Mondesi will probably be ready by the end of April. Mm-hmm. And we're going to put him on the 60 because the timeline actually kind of, we only lose a couple days. He's probably will be ready, the end of May. And he's not even, I don't think he's even rehabbing, like, as far as playing games. He hasn't done anything. Like, we are solid, even if he's good to go, like 3 weeks away once he starts that rehab process. And he hasn't even done it yet. So I don't know. I think the only relief right now is like Yu Chang, get him back. Put him at shortstop, move Kike over to second base, move him around a little bit, maybe in center field, and get him back to that role he's really good at, which is really hard playing every other position. But still, it's like I don't know where he is. I couldn't answer that one. I don't know.
Hey, honesty from Lou Merloni. I love it. Hey, so have you heard anything on the two injured guys that I think a lot of guys are hoping to come back soon, Story and Duvall?
Yeah, I think Duvall, last I had heard, he is expected to come back June 9th when he's eligible, which will be Friday night in New York. So he'll be back. Story, I think he's still kind of in that same time frame as far as mid-July goes. I think he's swinging the bat. So I think they're, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're sticking with this mid to end of July type of thing, and you actually kind of see him the first week of July. But, given the All-Star break, the timing of it, it's probably right after that.
You can just smell it happening right now.
What?
They're going to get healthy, and they're going to have a great September, and it's going to be like when Lou goes out and shoots 88, but yet in 17 and 18, it's birdie par on the way in, and he's back out there again, even though the number blew up. Like, that's what it feels. Seriously. Oh, Mondesi will be ready to go. Story will be back. Oh, Sale, after 3 months on the DL, he'll be okay. We're going to have a hell of a September around here that isn't going to matter. It just feels like everybody's hurt, and they'll be back at the end of the year to leave a good taste in your mouth, and then hopefully Heim can go do something. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. It'll, for them right now, obviously it's a big weekend here with Tampa. It's like they just have to stay in it, you know what I mean? And they just have to play some meaningful baseball games, and they're right on the cusp of it. Of course, they're another bad 10 games away from being out of this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about the division. Like, forget about the division. Like, and it's a long year. I don't want to say out of this thing, but, you lose 3 out of 10 again, you find yourself 7, 8 games out of the wild card, you're in serious trouble. So they need to figure out a way to regroup here and kind of put a good 10-day stretch, a good week, 2-week stretch together to try to get back into that wild card spot of like half a game or whatever.
Yeah, it's like that the end of April and the beginning of May where they won those 8 games in a row and really kind of padded their record. They need another one of those.
Yeah, and you just mentioned a particular time, but the like the trade deadline, if they can get Story back at the trade deadline, they can get Duvall back, give him like a month swinging the bat well, and they're throwing the ball, playing well. Like right after the trade deadline, they make a move or two. Maybe it's not going to blow me away, and I'm probably going to be pissed. But their schedule after the deadline in August, that's when you finally get to play Oakland. You know what I mean? Teams like Washington. Granted, you're playing Cincy, but they're a lot better than those two teams. So it'll be interesting if you can get hot after the deadline because of that schedule.
Oh, baby, our friend Lou Merloni. When are you back in the booth again, Lou?
Actually, next Friday, hopefully Adam Duvall's first game back in Yankee Stadium. Then I got Colorado series, and I think that first game against the Yankees that following Friday.
Oh, so you're going. Oh, so you're going down to New York for a weekend. That'll be fun.
Well, it's kind of weird because it's Nesson, so I do Friday night. Fox is on Saturday, and ESPN Baseball picked up Sunday. So I'm just going to fly in Friday, do the game, wake up, and maybe leave.
Huh. Wow.
We have the whole weekend.
Yeah. Rather fly than take a train? Have a nice little 4-hour Acela ride, get a little nap in there as well? None of that?
Yeah. No, plane's quick. It's up and down. Piece of cake.
Wow.
Piece of cake. I can handle
again.
it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll twist your arm.
Country Mouse Lou in the big city.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can take a 1 o'clock. Great. I could have a 6 a.m. tea time and still make the flight and get down there in time. Hey, Lou, thanks, brother. We appreciate you, man. Don't forget to listen to the voicemail we left you, and we'll catch you down the road.
It's actually a good point. I could get 9 in before that flight.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you can, because it's an hour and 15 minutes.
piece of cake. You just helped me out there, Gresh. I appreciate it.
Yeah, baby. And then you can Uber. I'm sure there's a big expense budget for that in Nesson, and go from there.
Oh, yeah.
All right, pal. We'll see you, man.
Thanks, Lou.
Bye, guys.
There goes our buddy Lou Merloni. We love Lou.